The shocking trade of Micah Parsons by the Dallas Cowboys in 2025 has sent ripples through the NFL community and sparked heated debates across fanbases, talk shows, and locker rooms alike. Once considered the cornerstone of the Cowboys' defense and one of the most electrifying young talents in the league, Parsons' departure to the Green Bay Packers not only signifies a massive shift in the Cowboys' defensive strategy but also offers a rare glimpse into the complex power dynamics, business negotiations, and cultural priorities within the franchise. The press conference held by Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones was meant to provide clarity and assurance to the fans, but instead, it opened a broader conversation about trust, identity, and whether Dallas is truly committed to winning now or simply reshuffling the deck in hopes of getting lucky later. Jerry Jones, ever the showman and strategist, began the press conference by downplaying the idea that this trade was emotionally charged or rushed. With carefully chosen words, he emphasized that the move was by design, insisting that the Cowboys needed to address one of their biggest weaknesses: their inability to consistently stop the run. Last season, Dallas finished near the bottom of the league in run defense, and for all of Micah Parsons' prowess as a pass rusher, the defense often crumbled in critical short yardage situations. It was a glaring hole that elite offenses had no trouble exploiting when the stakes were highest. So in that context, Jerry explained, bringing in a seasoned, powerful defensive tackle like Kenny Clark was not just a substitution, it was a strategic correction. Still, the trade wasn't only about X's and O's. Beneath the surface of Jerry's confident declarations was a tension that had been bubbling for months, even years. Micah Parsons, selected in the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft, quickly developed into a fan favorite and a defensive nightmare for opponents. His versatility, speed, and relentless motor made him a mismatch against nearly any offensive scheme. But as he grew into his stardom, so did his sense of value and his frustration with the business side of the sport. The situation reportedly began to sour in early 2025 when contract negotiations started to stall. Sources close to the team suggested that the Cowboys' front office attempted to engage Parsons in preliminary extension talks without his agent present, something Parsons reportedly took issue with. Feeling disrespected and sidelined in conversations about his future, he became more distant from team leadership and increasingly vocal about his dissatisfaction. What was once a player seen as the emotional leader of the locker room had slowly turned into a polarizing figure behind closed doors. By the summer, things had escalated. Parsons allegedly made a formal trade request in early August, just weeks before the start of the regular season. Though Jerry and Stephen Jones would not confirm this directly at the press conference, their tone and comments suggested that the writing had been on the wall for some time. Stephen Jones, who often plays the role of operational voice of reason to his father's theatrical bravado, was blunt in his remarks. He made it clear that the decision was rooted in football logic, not emotional fallout. "We haven't been able to win the big games," he said, referencing Dallas' repeated playoff exits. "And that's connected directly to our inability to control the line of scrimmage and stop the run." He praised Kenny Clark, noting that the three-time Pro Bowler was exactly the kind of player they needed to anchor the defensive front. Clark's addition wasn't just a replacement, it was a philosophical shift toward a more physical, grounded defense, something that has eluded Dallas for years. And with 2 future first-round picks included in the trade, the Cowboys not only improved their present-day roster but gave themselves flexibility to build a deeper, more resilient team in the years to come. But while the front office tried to frame the move as strictly business, the public couldn't ignore the emotional weight of losing a player like Micah Parsons. In 4 seasons, Parsons racked up over 50 sacks, made multiple All-Pro teams, and served as the heartbeat of a young, dynamic defensive unit. His departure leaves a void that can't be filled simply by stats or draft picks. The fans know it, and so do his former teammates. Social media lit up with tributes, reactions, and yes, plenty of outrage. Many felt betrayed, not just because Parsons was gone, but because of how it all unfolded quietly, without warning, and just weeks before the season opener. To add to the spectacle, the press conference had its share of awkward moments, including a particularly bizarre instance when Jerry Jones accidentally referred to Micah Parsons as Michael. Steven, visibly frustrated, leaned over and corrected him in a moment that quickly went viral. It was a minor slip, but symbolically, it spoke volumes. How could the owner of the franchise misname the team's best defensive player during the most important media event of the year? Critics seized on the moment, using it as proof that the front office had already mentally moved on from Parsons long before the paperwork was filed. And while Jerry quickly corrected himself and praised Parsons repeatedly throughout the session, the damage had been done at least in the court of public opinion. Yet, for all the drama and noise, the Cowboys insist that this trade is not a step backward. In fact, they argue it's the opposite, a bold recalibration aimed at winning right now. Their new defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, is known for his disciplined, gap control style of defense that relies on smart, physical interior linemen. Kenny Clark fits that mold perfectly. If Eberflus can build a system that maximizes Clark's ability to clog the middle and generate interior pressure, it could stabilize a defense that too often relied on splash plays instead of fundamental stops. And for all of Parsons' brilliance, Dallas often looked vulnerable against power-running teams, particularly late in games when fatigue set in. The trade could also send a message to the rest of the locker room that the team values structure and alignment over individual superstardom. Whether that's a message players will receive positively remains to be seen. But there's no question this move has elevated expectations for Eberflus and the defense. They no longer have the luxury of pointing to growing pains or personnel issues. The Cowboys made a high-risk, high-reward decision to trade one of the league's most feared defenders for a more traditional fit and long-term assets. That decision will be judged harshly if the run defense doesn't improve immediately, or if the team falters early in the season. Adding to the pressure, the Cowboys face none other than the Green Bay Packers, now featuring Micah Parsons in Week 4. It's a matchup that will be circled in bold red ink by every analyst and fan. If Parsons dominates that game and makes Dallas regret their decision, the noise will be deafening. But if the Cowboys win convincingly and show signs of balance on both sides of the ball, the narrative could shift dramatically in their favor. What's clear is that the front office is betting on more than just scheme or talent, they're betting on culture. By moving Parsons, they're signaling that no player is bigger than the system, that cohesion and buy-in are more valuable than highlight reel plays. That kind of thinking is risky in a league where elite talent often makes the difference between mediocrity and a championship. And yet, the Cowboys appear confident that they've made the right call. Whether fans agree or not, this marks a pivotal moment in the modern era of the franchise. For better or worse, Jerry and Stephen Jones have placed their chips on a different kind of team, one that they believe is tougher, more focused, and better suited to finally break through in the postseason. But if history is any indication, that belief will be tested with relentless scrutiny. The Parsons trade isn't just a roster move, it's a referendum on the entire philosophy guiding America's team in 2025. The road to redemption or regret starts now, and the world will be watching.